we're going to look at twin studies and how it might help us understand politics. So twin studies have long been done in psychology. It's a kind of goes back a long, long way. In fact, if you have seen the documentary Three Identical Strangers, you know that it's not only been done, but that there was actually kind of a cruel behavior where a psychologist went in and went to a orphanage and deliberately split up up twins so that as they developed, they could be studied. The idea behind studying twins who are separated at birth is that identical twins share all of their genes. Twins share half of their genes. So when you have an identical twin who's been separated at birth, you can assume that most, if not all, of the differences in their behavior in general has to do with the environment they were raised in and not in their genes. Whereas when they have things in strong common, despite the fact that their environments are very different, then you can come to the conclusion that it was genetically based. This isn't perfectly correlatable. I mean, identical twins do share a womb, and most of the time, identical twins spend some time together before they're split up, sometime in the hospital or in some kind of foster situation or something. So it's not perfect, but it's the best thing we have, kind of to separate out environment from genetics. Fraternal twins, on the other hand, present the opposite kind of dynamic. Fraternal twins who are raised together only share half of their genes, but they share most of the same socialization. They're the same age, so they're in when they're 7, they're influenced by the same cartoons. When they're 13, they're influenced by the same music. And parents tend to treat siblings fairly similarly, and especially when they're the same age. And you have a home environment that's exactly the same. The parents' ideology is exactly the same for both fraternal twins who are raised together. And so this is the kind of beauty of using twin studies and trying to figure out the nature-nurture question. We here at Cal State Fullerton do have a twin study center. We're one of the few twin studies research centers. The Minnesota study of twins raised apart is kind of the big twin studies longitudinal research, and they had 82 identical and 54 fraternal sets of twins. In other words, this is a field that has a long history, and it's actually got probably a better data set than most of our other political biology research. Okay, so I think we've established that predispositions towards ideology are somewhat heritable, and that we have long said that political behavior is not heritable. Um, um, and we are finding out that where ideology tends to be a little more heritable, political behavior is determined a little more by the environment. In other words, your ideology is nature. Your behavior, your voting record, your wanting to take part in a protest. Those things that probably are not nearly as determined by your genes. Um, Studying political behavior of twins, especially twins separated at birth, can be useful in helping us sort out to what extent behavior is directed by socialization and when it is driven by genetics. And so this is a kind of a really rich area to study because there's been so much previous research done on the subject. This is the last of the substantive videos. I'm going to ask you to spend a little time writing about what you saw today. I am going to do a conclusion wrap-up video, trying to put a lot of this into perspective. But this is the last of the kind of experimental kinds of videos.